How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to MojoGrip. Mike here. Today is the long-awaited video. It is cloudy outside, but I'm like, we need to make a video, damn it. Now, it's not an unboxing video like the title suggested, but it does feel like it. The real unboxing for this plane happened a year ago when all of these behind me was just scrap. It was just aluminum sheets, and we built it and built it and built it, and we have this beautiful plane behind me. So stay tuned. We're gonna check out my brand new airplane, the Mojosling. Beautiful 2020 Sling TSi, aka the Mojosling, standing right in front of you. If you're new to the channel, nice to make your acquaintance. My name is Mike. I'm a private pilot, and I got my first taste of flight 5 years ago. Okay, a year later, I got my pilot's license. And this is really the story behind this airplane, because it didn't just happen. This, I believe, was meant to be. Shortly after I got my license, I was certified in December of 2016. And just a few weeks later, this was the very first plane that I flew after I got certified as a private pilot. And I remember it was a beautiful day in Southern California. My girlfriend at the time, now my wife, she came with me on that trip. And we just wanted to go up. And I went up in this plane, actually the predecessor for this plane, which was the Sling 4. And I went up, and I remember my wife telling me, like, hey, I could really see us flying this airplane one day. And I kid you not, from that very first flight, I went home and I cut out a picture of the Sling 4, and I put that picture on my dream board, okay? And then years later, the TSi came out, and I remember saying to myself, man, the Sling 4 sure is a good airplane, but I thought it was underpowered. And then a few years later, the TSi, which is this airplane in front of you, came out, which had a bigger engine, better performance, and better load, better everything. And I said to myself, okay, I have to figure out a way to own this thing. And a year ago, as many of you who have watched, I announced that I will be building the Sling TSi. And a year later, here we have it. Here we have it. Now, guys, you've seen a couple of videos already on the Sling TSi, just not my airplane. So a lot of you already know the performance stats on this thing. I mean, for me, because I can't speak for any other pilot, for me, this airplane just, it fits the bill. It fits everything that I wanted to do in terms of my mission. But I'll do a quick rundown for you. So let's start from the top here, okay? Start from the top. We've got the Airmaster propeller. This thing, to me, you can't even compare this prop to any other prop in the market today, because it stands in its own lane. And I think the same thing of this airplane. When people try to compare the TSi to the RV-10 and any other airplane in the same class, I tell them you can't really compare it, because you think of this airplane and you think of efficiency, you think of modern, you think of automation, and all of that comes with this. And starting with this propeller, it's like having an auto gearbox, okay? That's how this thing works. It really takes a good load off of the pilot when you're flying it. And as you can see, my color scheme here, I went with the dark prop and then dark cover. And the actual color for this airplane, for some of you who haven't seen the paint video, this color here is called tungsten silver. And the reason why I chose it is it's like 2-in-1, honestly. Like right now, it's cloudy. Like you see outside, it's freaking cloudy. But if you were to see this thing in the light, right now, if you look closer, it kind of looks, it gives you like a champagne color. But when the light reflects on it well, you have like just a nice gray color to it. That's why I like it. It's really 2-in-1. So I went with the tungsten silver. I didn't want to do a lot. I didn't want any color combination. So as you can see, it's just one straight color for the entire plane, nothing else. Now, I did want to have highlights. So you see like the silver highlights for the name tag. We've got some hexagon back there, which I'll show you in a minute. And also, we've got other decals here. Garmin is what's in the airplane, which I'll show you also. And I know I've gotten several opinions about this decal, this whole thing right here, and I'm actually planning to switch it out. So you guys stay tuned for that video. But right now, this is what I got. But just let's go through the airplane very quickly. You see, it's a fixed landing gear, tricycle landing gear. These have the wheel pants on it. Honestly, initially, I wanted to go without the wheel pans, but For those of you who know airplanes, you know these actually serve a purpose. They do add to the performance of the airplane, and it doesn't look that bad. So I thought it was pretty neat. Another thing that's very unique to this airplane is the wings. So I mentioned the Sling 4, which was the predecessor to this plane. This is one of the big difference with that plane and this airplane. This wing right here. So the wing is narrower. Again, I've gone through this before. So the narrow wings makes for better performance with the plane. And you've got about 22 and a half gallons of fuel on each wing. So the fuel tank, if a lot of you followed my build series, this is where the fuel tank is. Okay, see where my hand is? Right here. This entire from here to here on the leading edge of the plane or the wings, that this is where the entire fuel tank. So we've got about 22 or so gallons of fuel right there on each tank. Now, one of the cool things with the Sling TSi also is that you can get extended long range tanks. I didn't need it. So the long range tanks, I believe, add another 20 or so gallons of fuel. Now, guys, this plane, one of the reasons why I invested in the Sling TSi is it's very efficient. You're not burning anything compared to any other plane in its class. Okay, you're not burning that much fuel. And as a matter of fact, I've been flying the plane quite a bit, and I've seen fuel burns anywhere from 5 to 7.8 gallons, and this is while doing 140 knots in ground speed or 140 knots or over in true airspeed. The other day I was burning 7.6-ish or 7.7, and true airspeed was 145, and this was at 6.5 or 7,500 feet. So you're gonna get the fuel efficiency in this thing. Plus, you also use car gas. Now, I'm trying to set up the right system for me to be able to use car gas consistently, but as some of you know, the airports around the country, they really carry av gas 100 low lead, which is not that good, one, for this plane and the engine, and I'll show you why. But let's go around the airplane first. You see LED lights, all LEDs. This is a modern bird. Also the positioning lights here, LEDs, ailerons. Man, I remember building this thing, guys. If you go this route and build an airplane, or more particularly this airplane, I can tell you right now that this entire structure here, the wing, again, it's literally what sets this plane apart. This will be what you spend the most time on, because maybe the average eye can look at this wing and think, well, it's just one component, but there's several things that needs to be built that's attached to this one wing. I mentioned the fuel tank up there. You got to build that separately. The skeleton and all the studs inside, there's work that needs to be done there. There's wiring work that needs to be done before you cover it with the aluminum sheet. And then you've got your ailerons. These and the flaps, you've got push rods in there that you have to set up. And then your flaps also. All of these components you got to build and then attach it as one unit. Okay, so you're going to spend a good amount of time, actually the most amount of time, on your wings, and you've got 2 of them. So keep that in mind. And then we come this way, and on this side, we've got our baggage compartment, which, let me see if I have my key on me. With the baggage, so this airplane, I believe you've got about 77 pounds. So you can easily access your baggage here. Now I've got quite a bit of stuff in there already, a few junks, but for the most part, things that are being used. These are live vests. We actually just picked these up because I'm planning a trip to the Bahamas in a week or 2, and if you're going to be flying over water, you need some live vests, so we're going to be using those. What else is in here? I've got the ether system here. This is going to be for my oxygen monitoring. And guys, right now I don't have the oxygen tank, which is going to be, when I show you the interior, I'll tell you where it's going to be placed, but this airplane will have oxygen in it, and this is going to be the system that we use to monitor it. And again, for that trip to the Bahamas, I'm likely going to be flying higher than 10,000 feet, just to be safe. And we're going to be needing oxygen for that. So once you guys actually stay tuned, I'll show you the video for that setup. But guys, this airplane is fully packed. Okay, it's one of the reasons why it took quite a bit of time, and also costs a little bit more than anticipated. You guys stay tuned also for the cost of this thing, or total cost, I would say. And you know, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to everybody who've been watching me, man. Everyone who subscribed, liked my videos, shared my videos. Honestly, I don't think I would have taken on something this crazy if I didn't have your support. And I also want to say big thank you to the sponsors also. This would not have happened if I didn't have sponsors for this project. So thank you so much to the sponsors, to everyone who took money out of their pocket, donated to my GoFundMe. We raised $11,815, I believe. And so I want to say thank you so much for that. As you can see, the money went well. It went into building this beautiful bird. But let me take you also around. Something I wanted to point out. You see these screws here? Like, you must know, a lot of attention to details went to this thing with the paint work, with the decals on it. I just wanted a clean look. So I thought this actually was very random. I had seen, you know, a few of the screws were sort of gold color, and I thought the contrast with the paint of the airplane was really nice. So I thought, you know what, for the exterior of the plane, we're going to use all gold screws there. So you can see it extends not just at the back there, it's also all over. And if you come here as well, we've got gold screws there. Now, remember what I was saying about the 100 low lead? Look at my plane. Look at this discoloration happening here, if you can see it. Let me back up. You see that, all that discoloration there? I mean, you can clean it, which is the good thing, but all of that is coming from the exhaust. That's all that lead that's being spit out by the exhaust. So I want to change my fuel grade ASAP. That's another thing freaking 100 low lead will do to your plane. But let's come to this back. This is such a beautiful story. One, I love the hexagon. Again, I really copied another airplane, Atlanta 4P was the airplane that I used to pick the paint out for this airplane. Also, the design in terms of some decals, and this is one of them. So shout out to whoever designed that airplane in terms of the paint work. And I think they look good with this plane. And shout out to Carlos. You guys make sure you follow him on Instagram. That's his handle right there. Carlos was the man who painted this airplane, did a beautiful, magnificent work with it. And the great story behind this tail, this is the very first thing that I built. If you guys can recall, the vertical stabilizer was the very first thing that we put together. And then we built this next. It's so crazy, like showing you guys now. If you remember, this was the second thing, first of the second thing that I built. So this is the horizontal stabilizer. You can see now it's covered up. It looks like part of the plane, but it was built separately, and it extends all the way to the other side. We've got that. We've got our elevator here, which is great. And then you've got your trim tab. Also, you've got your nose trim here. Also, you've got trim for the rudder as well. This is your rudder right here. Man, it's still surreal. I feel like it's still hitting me with this plane. And you can't ask for more when you're wanting to fly a modern airplane. I've just been amazed. I thought I loved this plane, but having flown it consistently the last couple of weeks, I'm just like, man, I'm still wowed by some of the performance numbers, the features. It's crazy to me. But another cool feature or safety tool we added was the parachute. You guys saw the video. If you haven't, just search on the channel. The video is there. So we've got the Magnum parachute in here. You can see right now it's closed off. Okay. And the way that the chute system is set up, it's basically a parachute bag that's in this compartment here. And should in case, you know, that tab is pulled up front, you can't see right there, that red tab. if that's pulled, a rocket will shoot out, which will basically rip this thing open, and you've got a nice steel rope, I would say, that's attached to the entire fuselage that holds the airplane in place, and then the parachute hopefully pulls. So that's how that system works, or will work, should in case the parachute was activated. What else can I mention? You see the climb tab here, also painted that in black. So if you can't tell already, the paint scheme is basically this tungsten silver and then black trim all over. You can see around the windows. You can see also the wing stripes there, black. The step up is black. Also, even to the name tag, you can see some black there. So that's the scheme I went with. I think it looks great. And I did take some time to hook up some GoPros. I'm still playing around with, angles of videos, but I will get to that at some point. Now, if you come up here, let me see. It was something I wanted to show you. Shoot, I forgot. So right there, actually, with the, I was talking about the wheel pants. I lost a screw. Actually, one of the screws was missing, so I screwed one out just to maybe go to Home Depot and see if I could find it. So one of the screws is missing on that thing. And then another, look at something that's easily forgotten. And again, anyone could, go through this if you're building your own airplane. Forgot to drill a hole for the tow bar. So that's gonna be, it's something simple though. So there is the placement for it, but I have to drill a hole in the wheel pants to be able to access it. So right now I'm just pushing and pulling this airplane by hand for the most part. And one of the things that sets this plane apart, of course, is the engine, powered by a Rotax 915IS. Beautiful, beautiful engine, guys. I can't say enough about the Rotax. As a matter of fact, it's one of the main reasons why I opted to build a Sling TSi. I feel like if this plane was powered by a different motor, I may have changed my mind, because I was looking at other options, I'll be honest. But again, ultimately, I felt like this plane was meant to be, because of the history that I've had with it. Now, let me show you the interior. Let's go around this way. And before I do, you can see also the black trim extends all the way to the interior. So you can see this is all black interior with some nice orange stitching. Now, speaking of orange, this orange will also be on the exterior. I just haven't gotten to it yet. So, but you can see this is all black, including the doors painted, all the trim, the edges there painted black. And these are much stronger doors, by the way, compared to the Sling 4. These are better doors that was built for this thing. So let's go inside. Let me show you around. To get in, fairly easy. 1 foot here, and then you pull yourself up right there, and you're on top. Now, before I show you some of the magic, a lot of you may have seen this panel before. Sorry for the dark lighting in here. But this is what I wanted, and shout out to Midwest Panel, another sponsor who worked with me on this plane. They did a phenomenal job with the panel here, and we have the Garmin G3X Touch 2. I've got the GTN 650 if I can get the camera to focus. And I've got a G5. This is for backup, basically. I'm gonna turn it on in a little bit and show you guys. And then I've got my electric switches here. You can see I'm still playing around with some colorful rubber covers there, but this is honestly just to help me figure things out, because I don't know if you guys can see some of the text there. If you're like this, you can't really see if it's double text. But what I want to do is just have different colors for each toggle switch, and that way I can tell what is what. But for the most part, I've kind of learned it off head from using it multiple times. And something unique to this plane is push to start, and your Rotax uses lanes, so you don't really have mags or whatever. And this is fuel injected. It's got an electronic system like a FADEC basically, that helps manage your mixture, fuel flow, all that good stuff in the engine. So see, like right there, you've got only one lever. So this is all I worry about whenever I'm flying. I'm not thinking about pushing my prop or my mixture. All of that is done by computer. And speaking of, also, that's my prop switch there. And I'll tell you more about this propeller. I want to make another video where I really discuss this propeller, because it's really a beautiful system that stands on its own. And I'm going to show you how I've been using it. So you can see here it's got takeoff, climb, and cruise. So I've actually changed it a little bit, that I only use 2 of those settings, but I'll talk to you about that more. And then you've got your circuit breakers, IntelliKey, another unique, something that's unique to the plain IntelliKey is you hear the click click. It's a little bit annoying, but the click click, it's basically for my key fob. It's because I have my key fob with me, and generally speaking, you can hear. Actually, I'm gonna pull it out just to show you. So you probably won't hear that click click anymore. So the IntelliKey basically activates certain things. My push to start is activated. Also at night or anytime when you walk up to the airplane, that light will come up. I need to reset it in the panel here, but you can see, I mean, there's so much I want to talk to you guys about, but this video would just be so long. But when you think of the simple setup in here, I remember one of the feelings I got when I flew the Sling 4 a few years ago. I thought it reminded me of just being in a nice car. So that's really what drew me to this airplane. It really felt like being in a nice car. It reminded me actually of my GTI. I used to own a Volkswagen GTI in Mark 6, and I really loved that car because it was like the first car I ever bought brand new, and I loved it. And when I flew the Sling 4, it really reminded me of that car, and that's the same setup in here. Everything is just within reach, comfortable, and you have your fuel selector there. You can see it, and you know, a lot of people don't think about all these things and the placement, but it's something really to think about, and that's why I talk about these things on the channel. Is, look, in a case of an emergency, right? Like you think of like a Cessna or one of the conventional high wings or whatever plane, even Moonies, you have to like basically kneel to get access to certain things. You have to bend down. You can't really, you have to basically take your eyes off of flying the airplane, or you know, basically take a few seconds out of the time you have to change stuff. Whereas like when I'm flying this plane, when I'm seated on this chair, I don't even think about it. My hands are just there. I can, you know, switch that fuel to a different tank if I need to. I don't need to look for it. It's not below me where it's out of reach. So these things I think about, and so I think the setup in here is great to begin with. And then some practical stuff. You've got pockets on each door. You've got one up top and then another one here. Another cool thing that I picked out for this airplane is this control stick here. This is from Tossin. They make sticks like this for experimental market, and this actually is one of the most affordable things in this airplane. And I went with this because I love the look. It's very simple. I hate too many buttons. I just like simple, and this gives me that. And also it feels really good on the hands if you guys flew this thing. So the functions I have on it, I've got my flaps. This is my trim, which I've gotten used to. It actually works very beautifully, the electronic trim on this thing. And this is, you've got your you push this to talk on the radio, and there's a button right here. This is to deactivate your autopilot, which I didn't mention. This airplane also is equipped with autopilot, which is right there. So I really love this stick. I wasn't even nervous when I picked it out. I just liked the way it looked. And the next is my rudder. So if you see there, some steel that says Sling on it. This is not standard for any build. This was also picked out. Now it does add a little bit of weight to the airplane, but I like it. For me, I was used to, you know, having my foot sit on something like this, so my foot is very comfortable with these pads. So there's an airplane coming by. And so when it came time to build my plane, I said I wanted those. Even though I don't have toe brakes in this airplane, I really like the way my foot feels whenever I'm using the rudder. And speaking of brakes, I've got my handbrake there. This will take some getting used to if you're not used to it. So you've got handbrake, parking brake, easy peasy. You've got little storage here in the middle console, but really it's for the headset jack. You might be able to throw a few things in there, but mostly for your headset jack. Now let's go to the back. Oops. I've been buying just little accessories here and there for the plane. We've got hooks now for the headset, so that works nice. These are lights. You mainly use this for your panel at night, and I've had a few night flights on the airplane that work great. I'm actually talking to Midwest Panel now because they recently developed a system that lights up this panel really good. So I want to be one of the first customers to test that out, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. But let's talk about the back seat. See, this is your back here. I haven't spent much time back there, but I know that it's comfortable because, again, when I reviewed the Sling 4, the back seat had enough leg room. I mean, let me stand up here. Look at the leg room, and this seat is pushed back pretty good. And look at the amount of leg room. Now, my seat, when I fly, this is not where it's at for the most part. It's pushed up a little bit, but I know the back passengers are going to be fine. And for me, with this particular plane, it's just going to be my girls, you know, my wife and my daughter. And even if I'm flying with friends, they should be fine. And we've already flown 4 adults, men, in this plane, and it was just fine. And then you look back there, baggage, you can see some extra space in there. But you have to watch your CG whenever you're flying this thing. Let me get back there and show you the comfort level of this thing. So see these right here? You basically like push it up, and it does the same on this side. Move the side of the way, and you just push. You push the back here, and that gives you the space. And it's actually easy entry to the back. It's easier to get in the back seat than the front. So I'm just gonna step in. So here I am in the back seat. Now I'm sitting. This airplane, you kind of sit a little bit inclined. If you can see, I'm sitting pretty comfortable. Now my knees are a bit higher. You see there? But I imagine, you know, somebody who is maybe on the shorter side would feel a little more comfortable in here. In terms of headroom, now my hair is long, so I've got a few inches than I would say the average person with just a short haircut. But I still got maybe another extra 2 or 3 inches above me. So for the most part, I think you're going to be comfortable back here. And then you've got another seat, obviously. And for the headset jack, you see, get my finger right there. So there's one on each side for each passenger. And then again, I installed the hooks up here. That way the back passenger can just hook up their headset. And you've got pockets also. Let me turn the camera around. So you see back here, we've got pockets behind the seats. Same on the other seat here. And so this airplane is very comfortable for a long cross-country flight. That's what it's built for. That's why you get a Sling TSi. This is not the plane you get to just go get a $100 burger, whatever the case may be. You want to go on trips. You want to fly 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. I don't think my bladder can take that long. But this is an airplane you take for a long cross country, and it's very comfortable. You know, the most I've flown so far, I flew the other day, flew about 2 hours cross country, excuse me. And obviously I'm sitting up front, so you know the comfort level is there. And these are the things any builder, any person who's looking to buy an airplane should consider. You know, what your mission is and how well the airplane serves your mission. Let's go up front. Let me show you that panel a little bit. I showed you the back seat. This is me sitting in the front seat. This is the seat you want to be in, honestly, in this plane. And it's very comfortable. You see my legs here. Now I can always push my seat backwards. One thing I also love about this plane, as a matter of fact, I should talk about it. So I mentioned the stick. Now, if you notice something, my legs limits the movement of the stick here, even back. Like the way my seat are pushed up, I can never overextend the stick is what I'm trying to say. So I'll give an example. Last week I was up, I told my CF, I said, let's just go practice stalls. And it was hard to stall this thing. It just wouldn't stall. In the beginning, I would pull all the way back and the airplane would not stall. What we realized was that my seat was blocking me from even extending it way further, and the airplane was already kind of angled up. So because of the restriction I have, I couldn't pull it further. But on his side, he pulled it up even further, and still with a balanced wing, the airplane would not like give you any crazy vibration or wing dropping. It just kind of falls like a leaf. So the stall characteristics, non-eventful. But I noticed that, and for anyone who's around the same stature as me, you may have that, but it's not a bad thing. When you have limitations to having the stick make you overbank or overextend the nose, that's a good thing. That way you can never find yourself in a compromising position. Just some tips there. But let me show you this beautiful panel. Got my key in my pocket, and we're just gonna turn the master on, and EFIS back up here. There we go. So guys, if you followed me from day one, you know I learned in a DA40, which had a Garmin G1000. Very similar to this panel here, except this system is a bit, maybe even a lot more advanced, because also the G3X Touch, which you have here, is touch screen. So it's a very, very beautiful system. Again, I don't have much time with it, but so far I've loved it. And now I'm actually learning to use this more and have them sync together, because I'm actually working on my instrument rating, and I'm getting ready for my written test right now. So knowing how to use this is very, very important for instrument, and also knowing how to use this. So my plan is I'm gonna do more airport hopping, and I'm gonna be using this Autopilot more just to get used to it. As a VFR pilot, if you have an Autopilot system in your plane, learn how to use it, because guess what? If you ever find yourself caught in the clouds or whatever the case may be, this can actually come in handy, where all you got to do is push on your Autopilot, set the airplane to whatever altitude, or if you wanted to hold your altitude, just set it there. And instead of you worrying about flying the airplane or putting it in a bad position, the Autopilot just takes care of you, okay? And then obviously you wait for instructions over the radio, whatever the case may be. So I will learn my Autopilot system. And so some cool things I would say about this panel so far. You can always set up your screen however you want. This is how I typically fly it. I've got my flight display here, and then I've got my engine stuff here. And normally I would also take this out. Whenever I'm flying, I could put this to, say, let me make sure the camera is on it. So I could have it on maps, I could have it on waypoint. And speaking of waypoint, guys, gone are the days where you have to have a paper map now. You can have one for backup, or I mean, we're in 2020, so most things are digital now. So say for example, when I learned how to fly, I had to have my flight plan all written. I had to get all the data and airport information. So say for right now, if I wanted to fly to PDK, okay, I just set this on waypoint, and I click the airport, I put my airport in. So this is PDK, let's do KPDK, okay, that's the cab, enter, that's it. All I need for that airport. So let's say I'm in a long cross country, I don't have papers on me, I can get all that data right here through the system. I click on the info if I need to. Actually, not info, this is all the info. Runways, you want to know, get information about the runway, it tells you right there. Weather tells you what their tab for meter is. Now obviously I don't have the information being on the ground, but up there you can get this data. NOTAMs, if there's any notes on the airport surroundings, you'll have that. Let's see what else we got here. Frequency, this is what most pilot needs whenever they're flying. If I need to go to PDK, I want to get the ATIS, I want to get ground, tower, all that good stuff. Now, here's the cool thing, right? So say, for example, I wanted to get the ATIS, and I'm already plugged into another frequency. Right now, I'm plugged into LZU, right? So I can just quickly look at the number and memorize it, or I can do this and transfer it to COM1 or COM2. Now, this airplane has two comms, two radios. So what I typically do, or what I've done in the hours that I spent flying this airplane, now my COM2 is off because my avionics switch is off. But if this was on, I would just click on that. Actually, let's see if we can make it happen. Let's turn avionics on. I don't want to run down my battery, that's why. So you see COM2 came out. So on my COM2, I can literally do this. On standby, if I want to put this ATIS on COM2, just put it on COM2. Boom, it's on COM2. And I click it, actually back. Let's do backspace here. Cancel. So it's already on my standby. Now, if I wanted to listen to this while this is still there, I'm not changing my current radio. All I have to do is bring it up here and then hit COM2. And with that, I can pay attention and get my ATIS, and I'm still current on my COM1 radio. So these are some really cool features. And I think the G1000 also has this. Just to me, it's not as sophisticated as you have it in the G3X Touch. And then quickly, let me turn the avionics back off because I don't want to run my battery off. Another cool feature, so I mentioned like my Bluetooth stuff. It's very easy to access in this plane. Just menu. You can get all your stuff and set up things through here. You can get your flight log and a whole bunch of other stuff from hitting that. So back. But for the most part, that's how I use this plane. I have literally all my information here. Now I do have a second screen here. Now if I was flying by myself cross country, I would just have this on a map or traffic screen, and that's it. And then again, I'm just starting to learn how to use this and also get used to using my autopilot. But this is the system. It's beautiful, and this is sweet. I really almost never use this or touch it. And the only time I use the G5 is to set my altimeter, because it works together with this. And once I set it here, it distributes it to across the panel. So that's something neat. But that is the panel, guys. Let me go ahead and turn my battery off before I run it down. But it's a beautiful system. And I do have USB ports all around the airplane. Let me turn the master off. You've got USB there, and then also there's USB ports in the back. I didn't show you that. For the most part, guys, I am beyond just grateful for this experience, because I understand it's a privilege to be able to fly your own plane, to be able to, I mean, like today, just driving into the airport. You know how many times I've driven into an airport to check out other people's planes, or back in the day when I used to go rent airplanes, and just thinking one day, imagine, like, if you get to do this, there's nothing like it. There's no other experience like it, where you can just drive into the airport and go straight to your hangar knowing that your airplane's waiting there for you. So I'm very humbled. I am very grateful for this. And again, I want to thank all of you for the support. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for sharing. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. A lot of flight videos are coming out. I'm flying this plane quite a bit, and those videos will be coming up. And moving forward, it's just going to be flying. Obviously, I will cover more airplanes, but you're going to see more of this airplane being flown on the channel. So again, thank you all so much. Thank you once again to the sponsors. And everybody else, just the world. It's been an interesting year, to say the least. So, but I'm happy that the plane is home. I'm happy to be making these videos for you guys. And stay tuned, and I will catch you on the next one. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button, and support the channel by becoming an MVP member. You can go to MojoGrip.net/MVP and sign up there. Thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you on the next video.